So the night we're recording this, it's super gorgeous, and we decided to go to the beer garden at Obed's to record this, and then also our post C2E2. Post 2E2. I kind of like that. Which you're going to hear this episode first before that. So my question for you guys tonight, since we are sitting at the beer garden at Obed's, it's very simple. What you drinking? So Matt, what you drinking?
I have not my style at all. Ditzy Blonde. Beer-wise, yes. Otherwise, no.
Tabitha, what you drinking?
A grumpy toddler, which is also not my style.
I think it is, actually.
I personally am grumpy, but I don't like toddlers. No, it's one of my favorite Obeds. It's a sour raspberry ale.
Nice. I am drinking an Isaac's IPA. I am one of those. I'm the IPA frat bro of this group, and I wear that proudly. And Tabitha is making gross gesture. Not that I wasn't gonna have you talk this episode, but what you drinking?
Sody Pop.
Somebody's responsible around here. You're listening to The Geek Awakens with Mitch,
Matt,
Tabitha,
and Lydia.
So, we've got a bunch to talk about this week. But first, I want to start. Matt, you've got a story. When we're recording this, it's just a couple days before Free Comic Book Day. But you've got a not-so-happy Free Comic Book Day story.
I do. This is... I will admit that this came from Tabitha. She shared this with me. So, a lot of this I didn't know. But a gentleman named Joe Field is the one who basically created Free Comic Book Day. He owns a comic book shop in... Concord, New Jersey? But it's called Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff. And he came up with the idea. Basically, he was writing for industry trade magazines at the time, owned the comic book shop, and he was watching all of these people walking by the windows of his store, going to the ice cream shop next door. Oh.
Okay, so for those listening, we had talked long and hard about whether or not we should go to Obed's in case it rained. What are we going to do if it rains? And we're like, nah, it's fine. It's not going to start raining until after 10. And it is now 8:05, and it raining. So, Matt, I hope you remember where you were, because I sure as hell don't.
Obed's Beer Garden.
Not funny.
A
little funny.
Anyway, so we're talking about Free Comic Book Day, and Joe Field is the one that created it. Basically, he owns and operates Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff, which is a store in Concord. And I want to say New Hampshire, New Jersey. I apologize. I don't really know. Long story short is that he noticed a lot of people walking past his shop to the ice cream shop down from his, and he was like, well, why are they going there and not stopping here? Because they were offering free ice cream cones. And he goes, well, I should offer something for free. What about free comic books? So in 2001 was the first Free Comic Book Day. That was 2001. In 2002 was the first Free Comic Book Day, and it's grown, and it is at least, countrywide now. First Saturday in May. This year it happens to coincide with May the 4th. But sadly, this will also be the last Free Comic Book Day at Flying Colors in their current location. Their lease is coming due, and when they ask their landlord for an extension, even a couple of years, landlord apparently really wants to put in a bagel shop. So
I was about to say gross, but I like bagels, but still,
right.
gross.
So as of right now, Flying Colors is going to be looking for a new place, looking for a new home. But the creator of Free Comic Book Day, this will be the last time that he gets to celebrate Free Comic Book Day that he instituted and created in the place that it was created.
So it's not quite as sad as I initially thought. I mean, we've heard stories about comic book shops closing their doors exponentially within the last, few years to a decade or so. And I thought that it was one of those stories. The way it sounds like, no, he's still successful. It's just the landlord is just like, F off.
Yeah.
So I really hope that he is able to find another spot. I don't know anything about New Jersey real estate, but I have high hopes for him.
Yeah, I hope so. He hopes so too. He and his wife have spent a lot of sleepless nights, it says, trying to figure out what to do about this, and hopefully they will find some sort of happy resolution to be able to move the store. But they've got until February of 2025 before their shop closes down in the current location. So if you're out that direction, visit them. But again, Free Comic Book Day this Saturday.
Woohoo! Which, realistically, by the time you listen to this, Free Comic Book Day last Saturday. It's fine. Speaking of comic books, let's open up the pull list. What's on our pull list this week? And before we start talking about our books, there's something really cool that Vault announced. So they have announced that their full catalog is now on Global Comics, with new releases out same day as physical issues. Global Comics is a digital reading and distribution platform that allows creators and publishers to share and sell their comics and license them globally. Additionally, the app has vertical editions of select Vault comics, including The Blue Flame, Finger Guns, Barbaric, and more. Speaking of Barbaric, the first book that we're going to talk about is Barbaric, Born in Blood, #1, out now from Vault, written by Michael Moreci with art by Nathan Gooden. So Owen, Axe, Soren, and Steele come across Oric, a tortured barbarian with a score to settle, and someone who will reveal secrets that should have stayed, secret. Fun fact, so this was the book that Vault put on Zoop a little while ago and was like, hey, you can read Barbaric Born in Blood #1 for free. And I was like, say less. And so I signed up for it and bought like a bunch of stuff. And I got the free download link, and I might have downloaded it, but I forgot to read it early. So yesterday was my first time reading this. Oops, but you got money out of me anyway, Vault. Tabitha, let's start with you. What'd you think?
Axe just forever is one of my favorite characters that we have ever read anything about. Like, I don't know if it's the bloodlust or the super quippy nature or just the great comebacks or the epic roasting he does of everyone around him. He's my hero. I have yet to find a Barbaric comic that I did not enjoy. This one was great. Slight spoiler, R.I.P. that dragon.
Aww. Yeah, one of the things I really enjoyed about this issue, explicitly, there was maybe a 2-page recap that it was narrated by Axe to kind of get you caught up and at least introduce you to some of the more important people and things in Barbaric. So especially as someone who it's been a while since I've read Barbaric, so that was really nice to have. But yeah, this book, I'm excited to see more of Owen's past and maybe see more of how he became who he is. Tabitha, you are absolutely right. Axe is probably my favorite character. But yeah, this book, the storytelling is fantastic. The art is fantastic. There's really not anything bad that I can ever say about Barbaric. I don't know. Now I feel like Walt's going to be like, I got you. Matt, what'd you think?
Like Tabitha and Mitch have said, this just continues to be not just one of my favorite Vault titles, but one of my favorite titles, like just period, the end. Axe is great. The art is wonderful. It's just like, the very beginning where you do get that recap and Axe is like, what happened? And Owen's like, well, you drank a bunch of screwed up mystical cleric blood. And he's like, I told you not to do that. Like Axe is making excuses for himself. And it's just like time and time again, it's just absolutely wonderful. I do agree that I think that this arc is going to be a fun look back, or an interesting look back at Owen's backstory, to kind of give us some of that, which you didn't really know we needed, but I think it's going to be done in a very good way.
And next up is Toxic Summer #1. It's out now from Oni Press by Derek Charm. So, recent high school grads, Ben and Leo, have the perfect summer planned out. Staying with Leo's grandma in Port Dorian, where they'll work as lifeguards and hopefully meet all the hot guys. There's just one problem. A toxic spill hit the beach, and now they're stuck on cleanup duty. The spill surely won't have any other disastrous effects, right? Right? Oni Press announced this a few months ago, and I was here for it the moment that they announced it. It sounded like a lot of fun, and I was 100% right. At least this first issue is double-sized. I believe all of the issues will be double-sized or double the length, whichever you prefer to have. But with the caveat is that they are going to be released every other month. So I finished the first issue and I was like, I'm glad that they kind of combined 2 issues in one, because I think that this could be a story that, especially with that first issue, that by the time issue 2 comes around, I might have forgotten about. But even though if I'm getting theoretically issues 1 and 2, but now having to wait 2 months to see what's next, I still might get kind of lost in the sauce. But that's really my only complaint about this book. It's a lot of fun. I really love the dynamic between the 2 main characters, Ben and Leo. It's fun. It's creepy. It definitely has some horror aspects in it, but I don't think it's going to be overly horror-y like some of the other books that we're reading. Yes, that's what I'm going with. Tabitha, what do you think?
Horror-y. That's a new one. I really enjoyed this. I need to know where this story goes. For some reason, when it was like double the length, I thought we were getting like the whole like arc of this. So it got to the end, and I was like, but. I enjoy the quippy humor. This is actually giving me like Riverdale vibes.
A little bit.
Yeah, and I'm like, ooh, teenagers doing dumb shit. My favorite. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Except in real life, right?
Yeah, dumb shit teenagers are not my favorite unless they're fictional. Fictional dumb shits only.
And that's tonight's episode title, Matt. Matt, what'd you think?
I wanted you to go to Tabitha first on this because I feel like she might resent me for saying this a little bit. But I absolutely love this because for me, this gives a mashup of Scooby-Doo and horror vibes.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see
art, kind of story-wise. Like, there's no giant Great Dane that talks and does weed, but yet. I don't know. It's still toxic. Yeah.
Does weed? Okay, boomer.
Sorry. No,
You know what's bad when not Seth is judging you.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
But that's his, like, go-to. His baseline is judging you. Anyway, you were saying Captain does weed.
Oh, my God. Oh, Lord. All right. No, this is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. I like the humor. I like the slight horror aspects to it. And I don't know. This is going to be fun. I'm definitely already ready for more issues.
But the next book we're going to talk about is WIFWULF. It is out May 8th from Vault, written by Jackson Lanzing and Collin Kelley, with art by Dailen Ogden. So, WIFWULF tells the story of Charity Bornsdarter, a woman who had a special connection with a wolf at an early age. When Charity's new husband isolates her from the woods, she discovers just how special that bond is. Matt, let's start with you this time.
So I am that person that always reads the stuff at the beginning of the book, like the introduction, the author's note, the acknowledgments at the end, all that kind of stuff. So I knew 100% going into this thematically what it was. And honestly, I'm glad that I did, because I don't honestly know that I would have quite gotten a grasp of the themes if I hadn't read that. I enjoyed the art. I liked the story. And it's a very... It's not an easy theme to talk about, and it did it in an interesting way. But I don't know that I would have 100% picked up on what that theme was if it hadn't been for that author's note at the beginning. That said, there were a couple of moments knowing that information that hit kind of close to home and were a little hard to read. But at the same time, I felt like it was well done for trying to get that point across. Again, once you kind of knew what it was shooting for.
Yeah. Tabitha, what'd you think?
The art in this was so incredibly spectacular that there were pieces of it that I wanted to cut out and put on my wall or even tattoo on my body. Like, this was just this incredible witchy, like, folk tale. I don't have the correct verbiage to explain how this made me feel, if I'm being honest with you. Like, the verbal abuse by the husband coming out very, very early in the story, and you kind of knew what was happening and you knew what to expect, made this so hard to read and so hard to get through. But from a feminist perspective, how rewarding was this? Trigger warning for death of an animal. That, I was 4 pages in and I'm like, I'm not reading this anymore. I'm crying about this dog. But this was incredible. My only gripe with this is that I wish it had been longer.
Yeah. And you sent us that trigger warning in our group chat before I had a chance to read it. So I was like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. So you say that you wish it had been longer. For reference, this book clocks in at just over 100 pages. The main story, though, is only about half of that. The rest there are a couple of bonus comics, but there's also a lot of behind the scenes, both behind the scenes early character designs. There's a narrative about kind of how this creative team came to be, et cetera, et cetera. As much as I loved the story, I really enjoyed seeing that behind-the-scenes stuff. I really enjoyed reading about how, this came to be because one of the writer's wives came up to him and was like, you need to see this person's art. And that's how it all kind of snowballed. The story itself, you're absolutely right. It's at times it's tough to read, but I'm so glad that I did. It was really great. It was definitely it felt like the beginning of something. I don't believe that this is the only thing that we will ever read about WIFWULF. So, last book we're going to talk about is Cemetery Kids Don't Die #3. It's out now from Oni Press, written by Zach Thompson with art by Daniel Irizarri. So the quest to find Pick is driving a wedge in the friend group. Enid quits the game, but starts her own investigation into the nightmare that is Dreamwave. So, fun fact, I initially thought that we were talking about Cemetery Kids Don't Die #3 last week, and so I read it on our way up to C2E2, and then I got about halfway through, and I was like, wait a second, I don't think we're reading it this week. And I double-checked, but I was like, I'm already halfway through. I'm going to finish this issue. And then I meant to read it again, either last night or whatever, to kind of, refresh my memory, but it didn't happen. So I am going to go last again, and I'm going to use you two to refresh my memory. And Matt, since you're holding the microphone, we'll start with you.
I feel about this miniseries the way I feel like you guys felt about Jill and the Killers. Like, I cannot wait to get to issue 4 to see how this all comes together. The like you said, the wedge between these friends had just continued to grow. The tension between them is getting worse. Everything is just amped up. Like this series, just like issue to issue to issue, just continues to grow, and just the tension just is exploding. And I'm so ready to find out how this all comes together. Like, I guess this is a spoiler, but like you've got Pick is already lost in this world, and now you've got another character that is, as we find out at the end, is lost in this world. They took sleeping pills to try and beat the system and play for 3 days straight, and one of the characters gets grounded by her dad, and the other one is lost in this world. Like, I have to know. I have to know.
Tabitha, what about you?
For some reason, when I started this one, I thought this was the end of this arc, and I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna get wild." And then it cliffhangered me, and I'm like, "No!" I really like this. I still have my gripe that the little device that they use looks like a uterus had a baby with some lungs, but aside from that, I really like these characters. I love it when they fall into their little AI nightmare. I'm obsessed. I wish I could play video games, guys, because I know I would be obsessed with them, but my brain will not let me. I need to know how this ends, but I'm also kind of sad to see it end, because as they're wrapping up playing through the video game, despite the fact that we have one more person who has now been sucked into the game, and I know we're going to get some more background with that, and that whole part of the story is going to keep going forward. I almost don't want them to win, because I don't want it to end, and that makes me feel like a bad person.
So, Enid quitting the game and going a different route with the whole Dreamwave thing. That was something that I did not expect them to go. That was not a route that I didn't expect them to go, but I love it. This story, you're right though, Matt. We were all falling all over Jill and the Killers, and this Cemetery Kids Don't Die. It is a very close second for me of some of these miniseries that we've read this year. For Birdie's sake, and I know that I believe that the next issue is going to be the last issue. They need to find Pick. Pick needs to be okay.
Yeah.
Birdie has already lost her mother. Their dad is a piece of trash. She needs to find her brother, and I need that happy ending. And I will riot on the streets of Springfield, and Oni Press will never know about it. But I will riot if that doesn't happen. So let's go into Trailer Takedown.
Let's get ready for Trailer Takedown!
And thank goodness we only have 2 movies to talk about this week. We have Mufasa the Lion King, which that trailer dropped. Actually, I think these both dropped last weekend. Mufasa the Lion King and the first really full red band, full of F-bomb trailers of Deadpool and Wolverine. Both Disney properties, both very different movies. So Tabitha, we're going to start with you this time because you also tried to make this a Lin-Manuel Miranda News Desk item.
I didn't try. I did. This is indeed a Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I mean, we'll see if I end up...
I'm not even drunk. I've just been having this problem for like 2 weeks where I cannot speak.
Just saying, it's not going to officially be a Lin-Manuel Miranda News Desk item unless I put the music in, so we'll see what happens.
Coming to you live from In the Heights, the Lin-Manuel Miranda News Desk. Okay. Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music in the original songs for this new production or Disney production of Mufasa. As we know, Tabitha can't watch these animal live-action remakes because they fill her full of anger and sadness and woe because the animals die and it looks too real and I can't take it. However, I love a backstory, and with this Mufasa thing, I did not know that Mufasa was not born to royalty. Like, I feel like they're inventing like a whole new line for him that I just did not know about.
I think they are.
I love that. Give me the backstory. If you make it up or not, I don't care. The little lion is cute. I'm curious to see what they do with this story, but again, I will never watch it because I will live in fear that an animal will die and I won't be able to handle it. I'll just have to listen to the soundtrack. As far as Deadpool is concerned, I have one major complaint with this, and it is the moment where he tells Wolverine, "You are not an X-Men, you are the X-Men." He is not the X-Men. I will be taking no questions. So I'm more likely to watch Deadpool than Sad Lion movie. So I'm going to go 8 for Deadpool and 2 for Mufasa. The 2 points are for the 2 very cute ears on that very cute lion.
So I am one of the, 27 people in America who actually liked the Lion King remake. And seeing this Mufasa trailer, like, I'm torn, I'm conflicted. Matt, I'm going to steal one of your lines. I don't know that we need this. But it's visually, it still looks stunning. And Lion King being one of my favorite Disney movies will always have a special place in my heart. So it's like, I do kind of want to see this. My 2 major gripes, though. I noticed in the cast list, Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen, who voiced Timon and Pumbaa. So does that mean that Timon and Pumbaa are going to be in this prequel? And I don't believe that they knew Mufasa.
What is the average lifespan of a lion? Not that Mufasa reached his potential, but could Timon and Pumbaa have been his friends when they were children and they just didn't tell anybody?
And just forgot?
They're a warthog and a...
Isn't Lion King like 1.5 about Timon and Pumbaa pre-Lion King?
There's a Lion King 1.5?
I'm pretty sure. It was like direct to...
It was direct to video.
Yeah.
It was one of those VHS.
And I can't remember if it's like life after Lion King or if it's pre-Lion King. I'm pretty sure it's pre... I think they even had a TV show.
Yeah, they had a TV show for sure. But yeah, unless this is one of those things where it's like narrated by Timon and Pumbaa, then I can get behind that.
I actually think that's what happened in 1.5, where they're like narrating their own movie. Like it cuts to them, like it's Mystery Science 3000. Like I'm pretty sure that's what happens. We're gonna see if it's streaming. We're gonna watch that when we get back tonight.
My other gripe with Mufasa, and Tabitha, you are in hitting distance, and I'm terrified. But I don't know how on board I am with Lin-Manuel Miranda doing the music. Now, let me just say, I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, so much so that I can't even pronounce his name. However, the music for The Lion King will forever and always, for me, be associated with Elton John. And Elton John and Lin-Manuel Miranda do not,
friends.
But they don't make the same music.
Well, no, but I have seen Hans Zimmer live and in concert, and he brought the 2 original people that did the music, like the singing, like the vocals, for the original Lion King with him on that tour. My biggest hope is that Lin sticks with that, like, theme. So I understand the concern for Lin doing it because he does have a much different style than the original Lion King. But, like me, Lin is also a very big fan of Hans Zimmer. So I feel like he will pay tribute and do that correctly. Also, the moment when Lin-Manuel Miranda does something wrong, somebody call me, because I feel like it's never going to happen.
Lin-Manuel Miranda voted for Trump in 2016.
No, he did not. He would never. Blasphemy.
As far as Deadpool and Wolverine, I really don't have anything to add that I haven't already said. This movie, I do, because this trailer uses Madonna's "Like a Prayer" perfectly. Yeah. The first day that I saw this trailer, I saw it in the sauna at the gym, and don't look at me like that. Anyway, and so on my way to work, I listened to "Like a Prayer," I believe 3 times, and I was fine with it. But yeah, like this, I'm here for it. It's July something, I think, is when it comes out, or is it June?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, either way, this will be. I haven't been this excited to see a movie like the day it comes out in a very long time, as much as I'm excited to see this movie. So I'm actually mirroring Tabitha. I'm giving Deadpool and Wolverine 8 points and Mufasa 2 points. Matt.
Mufasa, yes, I enjoy a backstory. I don't love a backstory quite as much as Tabitha, but I do enjoy it. That said, I don't, again, like you said, Mitch, I don't think we need this. Also, there are some, what's the word? Not cameos, maybe, from some other characters. Like, I think Rafiki's in it. Apparently, if Seth Rogen and Eichner doing, listed on there.
Rafiki I can get behind. Because Rafiki was kind of like one of Mufasa's, like, trusted, like, people. I can understand that. Monkey butt.
It looks visually stunning, but I just don't see any reason for this. Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine, however you want to mash that up. We're gonna ship it, so I don't know. I don't know how you would do that, but I'm ready for this. I think this is going to be wonderful. I think it's going to be great. It's going to do things to the MCU that I didn't think we thought were possible, which is a good thing. Also, the more and more you watch this trailer, the more and more I think we're going to get just an insane number of cameos from characters from all these different movies and universes and pre-post MCU, all of it. And I want to say that I saw a little snippet from Kevin Feige that basically said you're not going to have to do research to watch this movie.
Which is nice.
Which is very nice considering the current state of the MCU. So I am going to go 9 points for Deadpool and Wolverine. And 1, honestly, because I think Rafiki is my favorite character.
All right, so with a score of 25-5, Deadpool and Wolverine kill that cute little Mufasa cub.
What is the matter with you?
We don't have enough time. So let's go into gut reaction.
Ow! Gut reaction.
And we're going to stay on the subject of cats. So Dynamite has announced that the first volume of their new Thundercats comic will hit comic shops July 17th, more than 3 months before it hits other bookstores, including Amazon. Issue 5 is a Chitara story that leads into her own miniseries, with issue 6 starting a whole new arc. Thundercats Omens collects the first 5 issues of the comic. Part of the reason for the early release to comic book shops is so that readers will have a chance to get caught up before the new arc begins. This comic shop special edition will be limited to a single printing. Later editions will hit other retailers and will feature a different cover. I'm giving this a thumbs up with an asterisk. I'll explain the asterisk in a second. I love this idea. I love the idea of comic book shops getting first dibs on collected editions like this. And as someone who I missed out on issue 2, I read issue 1, loved it. I have issue 3, but I need to find issue 2 first. But I am very excited about this this series. My asterisk is the fact that, like, if they are doing this to get people to buy the collected edition to get ready for issue 6, which is going to be a new arc, and then buy a floppy, that's what they call single issue comics.
I didn't say anything.
But you had eyes.
Be real weird if I didn't.
But most people, I would think, won't really mix a series like that. They will either buy all collected editions or they will buy all single issue comics.
Floppy.
Thank you. So I don't know how much they're going to get new readers like into this and then buy issue 6, but major props to them for trying, and I still think this is a great idea. Tabitha.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, when I buy a book and the book covers don't match, it pisses me off. So having, like, a completely different, like, 6th book in a no, not for me. Thumb sideways.
Matt.
So I'm going to go thumb sideways because I do like the fact that comic book stores are going to get early access to the collected issues, and having missed out on the first arc, that would be something I would jump at. But that said, I am not the kind of person, as of the last few years, I have not bought single issue comics. So I would go in and buy this collected and then probably not pick up issue 6 because now I'll just wait for the collected of the next arc. So yeah, I'm going to go thumb sideways.
Matt, let's talk about Megalopolis.
So little did we know that Francis Ford Coppola has been planning a sci-fi epic for like 40 years. There are some pictures that have popped up online, including some of the actors that are going to be part of this incredible project. Adam Driver is going to be in there. Aubrey Plaza, John Voight, Dustin Hoffman, Shia LaBeouf, Lawrence Fishburne. The list just goes on and on and on and on. And basically, this is something that Francis Ford Coppola has been collecting for 40-some years. He says it wasn't something he's been working on for 40 years, but it was one of those like, I picked up notes and clippings and a scrapbook from things that I found interesting. So he self-financed this $120 million budget for this film. Still looking for a distributor. But it's going to premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. So if it's well received, I'm sure it'll pick up a distribution, and we'll get a chance to see the mob boss's sci-fi epic. Francis Ford Coppola doing a sci-fi epic, just maybe it's a passion project, but I'm going to go thumb sideways until we get some sort of trailer or more than like a still or two.
I'm going to go ahead and give this a thumbs up. The words in which the order in which you gave those words just intrigues me so much. And I'm here for it. And while, yes, after I see a trailer, maybe my mind will change. But for now, I need this in my body right now. Tabitha.
I need you to stop talking. I think I agree with Matt. Like, I'm going to need more about the actual film than the fact that Francis Ford Coppola has been collecting a scrapbook for 40 years. And cast, because you tell me Adam Driver's in something, and that is not a reason for me to watch it. So thumbs sideways until we know more.
Tabitha, let's go to the Chronicles of Narnia.
So we are on our 500th version of the Chronicles of Narnia. We're getting another one. Greta Gerwig is going to direct a new film series adapting the Chronicles of Narnia. She is currently only on board for 2 out of the 5 possible movies, so we'll see what happens to the franchise as a whole. It's going to be on Netflix. We've had some failures in the past of this series, and the first movie has been adapted a couple of times, and then it just kind of womps off into the distance. Filming is set to start in August of this year. It's expected to last for about 7 months, so we don't have a lot of information. We don't have any casting. Greta Gerwig is doing a great job doing Greta Gerwig things, and if I think of all of the properties like in history and in literature that could be redone and remade, this would not even be on my bingo card for things Greta Gerwig could remake. Simply because she puts her own spin on things to, I don't know how to say this. Hopefully, I think Matt will know what I'm trying to say here about the undertones of the C.S. Lewis books, and Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe especially. I'm going to go thumb sideways until I know more.
Matt.
All of the Chronicles of Narnia has very strong religious undertones. And the style of Greta Gerwig is not necessarily dependent upon religious undertones. And it seems like a strange collaboration, if you will, for her to redo these. I hate to say it, but it's one of those things. Like, I have read the first probably 3 books of the Chronicles of Narnia, I don't know, half a dozen times. I've never made it past like the 3rd or 4th book, and I feel like that's what happens with the reboots. Everybody like loses interest like halfway through, and they're just like, okay, we had fun while it lasted. And I feel like this is probably going to go the same route again, even if it is Netflix. So thumb sideways.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a thumb sideways. I've never really cared about Chronicles of Narnia to begin with, and I'm not going to start now. So last week, Richard Simmons took to social media to say that he doesn't approve of the biopic starring Pauly Shore as the fitness guru, stating that a man he doesn't know is writing the movie. We've talked about this before, but a little more information. Simmons also said that he's in talks to create his own biopic. Pauly Shore responded on Instagram. It's a doozy, and I know that this is going to kind of add a couple minutes, but I really need to read it in its entirety because it is out there. So, Pauly Shore says, quote, "You guys, I was up all night regarding Richard Simmons' tweet. Richard, how do you not approve of this movie? I mean, really, who's better to play you in a movie than me? Leonardo DiCaprio's not going to play you. Brad Pitt's not going to play you. I'm perfect. Everyone already thinks I'm you. We're the same. Beautiful inside and out. Hell yeah. Richard, you haven't even heard the pitch. Why don't you simply let me come over to your house, bring you some warm matzo ball soup and a pastrami sandwich with dark mustard from Cantor's, rub your feet, and you can listen to the writer, Jordan Allen Dutton, pitch you our idea. I know you, Richard. We used to hang out back in the day. I'd always see you at the Comedy Store. You're my old buddy. Richard, you're going to love our movie. We're going to make the most beautiful cinematic masterpiece that's going to honor you in a way that you'll drop to your knees and cry with joy and happiness. And I also heard the good news that you're in talks with studios to do a biopic about yourself. That's amazing. The more movies about you, the better. You deserve it. There should be hundreds made. But, as you know, many biopics are made without the subject agreeing to the part. Elvis, Stephen Hawking, Marilyn Monroe, Steve Jobs, and many, many more. Some of them turned out good. Some of them turned out bad. Mine is going to turn out amazeballs. So let me know when you want me to come over with yummy food from Cantor's, and Jordan and I will pitch you in your living room. I love you, Richard, and so did my mom. Love you always. Your old friend, Pauly Shore. End quote. Giving this a thumbs down for multiple reasons. That Instagram post was, as the kids say, full of cringe. Also, total sidebar, I would love to see Leonardo DiCaprio play Richard Simmons. Are you kidding me? But kind of the more I think about it, like my tinfoil conspiracy hat brain being on, I wonder if Richard Simmons is actually in on it this whole time and he's actually okay with it, and this is just getting people talking about it. Either way, not super thrilled. Thumbs down. Tabitha.
Amazeballs. Sent me over the edge. I'm giving this a thumbs down. This didn't need to happen in the first place. This cringy ass tweet, whatever. No, thumbs down.
Matt.
I'm gonna have to agree. This is gonna be a thumbs down. All of those biopics that he mentioned in his reply, all of those people had passed away. So no, they didn't approve of it because they were no longer here.
I think that was the point.
That's a different story. Does he look like Richard Simmons? Like, at least in the pictures we've seen so far, yes. Does that mean that he's perfect to play the part? Not necessarily. Also, if Richard Simmons wants to do his own biopic, let him do his own biopic. It's his story. So, thumbs up to him for doing that, but thumbs down to Pauly Shore in this call and response.
Matt, let's rent an X-Men Airbnb.
I would love to, and it's only $97, but I think it's going to be booked for a very long time.
Dang it.
Airbnb has announced their especially icon hotels, and it is Disney's Up House and X-Men 97's Mansion. In Newcastle, New York, Airbnb has built or transformed a house into Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, including the War Room. You can try on Cerebro's helmet, potions in Beast's lab. You can recreate Wolverine's iconic photograph meme, and you can even get a diploma from the Institute for Higher Learning in Professor Xavier's study. So much of this has been painted and done in a cell. I can never say this. Comic book style. Thank you. I just cut to the chase.
Cell shading?
Yeah, whatever. Style that it just looks absolutely incredible. It is only $97 a night to rent. I think it said it holds up to 8 people. But again, $97. Oh, it's $97 per guest. Allow 8 guests to sleep in 4 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms. This is a huge thumbs up. I love this idea, but good luck trying to rent it.
I was about to say, definitely a thumbs up, and I would say let's just book it for literally whenever we can, and does not matter when we're going to make this happen. Tabitha.
Road trip, thumbs up.
So, Obed and Isaac's closing early, and we are still here. So, yeah. Everybody say bye.
Bye!
Bye.
That's going to do it for this episode of The Geek Awakens. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot us an email at thegeekawakenspodcast@gmail.com.
It would be a shame if you didn't follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Geek Awakens Podcast or on Twitter at Geek Awakens.
Theme music created and produced by E. Cannon Beats.
Our logo was designed by Shay McCain.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. We're boldly gone.